Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to be doing a Stray Kids Q&A. I asked my followers on Instagram to fill out a Google form with any questions they had about Stray Kids because I'm a pre-debut stay and I want to share all the knowledge that I have with you guys, especially baby stays. I asked whether it's about Stray Kids themselves, about my favorites, anything like that. So let's get into it. The first and most frequent question I got was when and how did I get into Stray Kids? I have the exact date. I got into Stray Kids October 8th, 2017. This was 2 days after the Elevator music video released. I saw it on my YouTube feed. It was suggested because I was already somewhat into K-pop, so I watched it. I really liked the music and saw that they were having a survival show, so I watched the survival show. I got quite a few questions asking what my favorite era is, and it's hard for me to choose. It's really hard to choose because SKZ have had so many really great eras. So I can't really choose, but I would have to say my favorite era is Levanter. 1, because I love the title track. 2, I love every other track on the album. And 3, the music video, the concept photos, and the teasers, everything about that comeback just is so pretty. Never mind, it holds a special place in my heart, especially because it was a comeback after such a hard time for SKZ. It's just everything about it I really love and adore, and Levanter is one of my favorite title tracks too. So I'd have to say Levanter is my favorite era. That answer bleeds into the next question. It's what is my favorite title track? My favorite title track is I Am You. I am you, I see me in you. That's my all-time favorite, with Levanter following closely behind. Something about those two eras just hit really close to me. I really love the meaning of the songs. I just love everything about it. So I chose those as my favorite title tracks. Another music related question, what is my favorite album? It's very hard to choose, but if I were to choose an album, actually we'll choose two. If I had to choose albums based off of how many of the songs that I listen to that I don't skip, I would have to say Ordinary and I Am Who. Those are the two albums that I think are my favorites. I don't skip any songs on that album. I love every single song that's there. Okay, the next question is a lot harder for me to answer because I have to rack my brain to answer it. It is, what is my favorite stay memory? And I have a lot of those, considering I've been here for 6.5 years. I think my favorite stay memory is when I went to their Unveil tour in LA. It was my very first concert ever, and at that, it was Stray Kids. So I think that was a very big core memory for me, and I will never forget it. Moving on to another favorites question. The question is asking, what is my favorite music video? And let me tell you, there's a lot. Since SKZ put out so many music videos, even with the SKZ players, there's so many to choose from. But I think the Voices performance video, No more, no more, 나를 바꿔 노려하지 마. I call that a music video. The Voices performance video is my favorite, along with The View. And Blueprint. The next question is asking, has Chan always been my bias? No.
Who's my bias?
Felix was my very first bias. He was the one who caught my eye in the survival show, and he was my bias up until, well, he still is my bias, but I added Hyunjin to the bias list in 2019, and then I just kept adding from there. It went Felix, Hyunjin, then Chris in 2020, Jongin in 2021, Changbin 2022, and last year was Lino. So I have a lot of biases that I claim, but Chan is my main bias now. All right, this question I have to read off of my screen. It is, what SKZ song was the first to hit your soul and be your favorite of all time? This one, immediate song that popped up in my head was Voices. That is one of my all-time favorite songs. I still listen to it religiously because I love it so much, and the lyrics speak volumes to me. I've actually been thinking of designing a tattoo with the lyrics or like pertaining to the song because I relate to it so much and it's such a special song to me. This question's a little silly fun. It's, if you met any of your biases, what would you say or do? And I really think this one depends on the context of the meeting, because if I saw them while they were on vacation or on a private schedule, I would stay away. I would back up. I wouldn't take any video. I wouldn't take any picture. I would not approach them because it's their vacation time. And I know some people are like, oh, it's fine, you can walk up to them. I don't want to disturb them. If it was the instance where they're on tour in the US and they're in my city and I run into them, I'd be like, hey, I love you guys so much. Like, I've been a stay for a long time and I appreciate you guys for everything that you do. That's what I would say. And if I had something for them to sign, I would ask for it. I've gotten quite a few questions regarding concerts, if I've ever been to a Stray Kids concert. And yes, I have been to seven. In my entire journey as a stay, I've been to 7 concerts. And I will list them out for you. So the very first one I mentioned earlier, the Unveil tour in LA. That was my very first one. And then I went to the District 9 Unlocked tour in San Jose. I went to the Maniac tour in Oakland, and then Bold Days in Seattle. And then I did Maniac Tour Encore in LA for both days. Getting into a little bit of deeper question, it is what made me open my Chan account. So if you didn't know, I run a Chan Instagram account called Chinese Archive, and I just post a bunch of Chan content on there. That's what I do because I want to share the stuff that I remember from old Chan eras with baby stays. That was my main goal. Okay, I originally was not going to address these questions, but since I got so many and there's a lot of misinformation that spreads around the fandom, I'm going to clear the air for anyone that sees this. So this goes as follows. The questions are, why did Woojin leave the group? How was the group dynamic when they were together? And were SKZ uncomfortable when he was in the group? And I'm going to start off with why he left. We do not know. We don't know why Woojin left. If anyone tries to tell you it was the allegations that came out a year later, they're lying to you and they're just horribly misinformed. When he was in the group, it was a normal group dynamic. They were happy with him, they were friendly, fun, they were like friends. I don't know why people went and evil edited clips of SKZ with him, making them look uncomfortable and scared of Woojin, but that was not the case. As for how the transition was when he left, it was traumatizing. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be so honest with you guys, I cried. I was devastated. You know why? Because he was a part of SKZ. He wasn't like an outcast member that people make him out to be. So when I got the news at 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, right before dinner, I was about to cry. I cried when I got into my room alone. I sobbed. Let's say a group of someone from your favorite group left. How would you feel? That is exactly how a lot of stays felt when Woojin left. And that transition was really, really hard, not just for Stay, but for SKZ as well. That he left in the middle of all those preparations. So they had to do a lot of catch up and reorganizing and reblocking and re-recording when he left. And it was so much. And that's personally why I do not support him. Because he left SKZ in such a vulnerable state that they went to their Seoul tour for the Unlock tour, and they sobbed on stage because they're like, don't leave us, like, I'm afraid you guys are gonna leave us because of what happened. And it's just like, that's why I don't like him. Personally, I don't hate him, I just don't like him, and I will never support him. And this is the end of that conversation.
Yeah, moving on. 아무튼
What was the best hairstyle? And it's a very broad question, so I'm just going to drop my favorite hairstyles on all the members right here. So one for each, and that'll be the answer. I wanted to ask what SKZ's official debut song is, because when you look it up, it's District 9, but isn't it supposed to be Elevator? District 9 is their official debut song. Elevator was a song that they created for the survival show, and it is a pre-debut track. They didn't debut with it. So when you see people saying, oh, District 9 is their debut track, it was their official debut on March 25th, 2018. This one's a hard question too. It's asking Blonde Chan or Curly Chan. And if you know me, I love Blonde Chan and I love his curly hair. So having to choose between the two, I'd just rather say blonde curly hair for him. But if I had to choose, I say let his curls breathe. Like, look at it. His curls are gorgeous. And I wish he loved them more. I know he wants to like start showing them off more, and I hope he does because they're so pretty. They're so pretty on him, and I hope the stylists learn how to style his curly hair because they're gorgeous, and I wanted his hair to stay healthy. This question is so sad. It's what is Channy's room and what happened to it? I forget that there's days that have never witnessed a live Channy's room. It's been almost a year. Oh my god. Okay, so Channy's room was a weekly live that Chris used to do. He started it on January 1st, 2019, and he went all the way through May of last year. What happened to it? We know and we don't know. There's a very blurry line as to what happened to it, but in the most recent one, the very last episode, he was talking about how the younger groups, like the newer groups that debuted after SKZ, are very disrespectful when it comes to bowing, since that's in Korean culture. Bowing is a very respectful thing to do to your seniors. He was talking about how a lot of the new gen groups don't bow and show respect to their senior groups, and too many people speculated who he was talking about and started throwing hate to the group that they speculated, and then the fandom of that group started throwing hate to Chan. So it ultimately made Chan apologize. First of all, he sent an apology, and second of all, that was the end of Chan's room. Now, we don't know if it was his choice or if it was the company. I lean towards it being the company silencing him. This one says, I keep seeing old videos where different people have hurt hands that are in braces or bandaged. I've been curious about what happened. Glad that it seems like something they were able to heal from. From what I can remember, Lino, Hyunjin, and Chris all have worn wrist or hand braces or wraps. Hyunjin's, oh my god. I was there for it. Well, not there, but he heard it at the Oakland show, the Oakland Maniac Tour show. We got the announcement after it, but he was wearing a brace. He apparently hit it on a door, but that injury persisted until the end of Maxident era, so that's what happened to him. Lino, I think, was because he was boxing. It was a boxing related injury, if I remember correctly, but he's also recovered from it. It wasn't a fracture or anything. It was probably just like a strain or a sprain. It was a very brief injury, I think like a month or less maybe, I can't remember, but yeah, that's what happened to Lino. And then Chris, he had issues with his wrists back in 2021. where he had to wear a bunch of wrist braces. He couldn't put much weight on them because I want to say it was carpal tunnel. He didn't specifically say what it was, but he did go to the doctor for it. And he did explain that his wrists were very much in pain. From what we can tell now, he's not wearing the braces anymore and he's not complaining about his wrists hurting, so I think he's fully recovered from that too. Do you know about their dorms? Like recently I saw in a 2018 interview where they said that their managers live with them, and I know now they have 2 separate dorms. When did they split the dorms? Are they neighbors? Do some of them live in their own house now that they're huge stars? Just curious. Okay, their managers did used to live with them in their old dorm. I don't know about now. They don't give much information about their dorms. They don't show anything except for their rooms. So we really don't know if their managers live with them now. As for right now, the dorm situation, there's 2 separate dorms. We have 3 Racha plus Hyunjin in one, and then Lino, Felix, the youngest plus Lino. When did they split the dorms? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but it was after Thunderous, I'm pretty sure. It was definitely after Thunderous. So in between Thunderous and Maniac, that's when they split the dorms. Okay, this one is asking what happened when Hyunjin wasn't a part of the group. Like during Kingdom, he only participated in the first episode. Okay, this is also another traumatic type thing that happened within the fandom. Hyunjin went on a 4 to 5 month hiatus in 2021 during Kingdom because of a bullying allegation. This happened to a bunch of idols. There were a bunch of bullying allegations that came out, and Hyunjin was one of the idols. And JYP, instead of like disproving the allegations and helping Hyunjin, they shoved him into a hiatus and he wasn't allowed to be on Kingdom. He was in the first episode and then no more. This is a cute question. What do you think Felix's charming point is? And I'm gonna say it's his freckles. I've loved his freckles ever since I've seen him. I have freckles myself, so I adore them, and I just think they're so pretty. So that's my favorite charming point for Felix. I love this question. If you had to choose any member's wardrobe to wear for a month, who would you choose? And my immediate answer is Yang Jongin. I love his style, either Hyunjin or Jongin, but I'm gonna choose Jongin because I love his style and I would wear whatever he wears pretty consistently if I had his wardrobe. Okay, let's go out with the bang. Last question. This one is asking, if you were to choose one of the members to take with you on a backpacking trip across Europe, who would you take? I think my immediate thought is Lino. He seems like a very outdoors kind of person. He recently went ATV riding with his friends. I think he'd be very good to go backpacking with. That's my only reasoning. He also probably would like plan it. I feel like he'd be a very good planner for this kind of trip and he'd have all the necessities. So I would take Lino with me.